The first time I saw her, she was kneeling in the red dust at the edge of the plains, her thin shoulders shaking as the twin suns sank toward the horizon. I almost didn't stop. On Karuan 7, stopping could get you killed. The world was beautiful in a harsh way. Endless savannas broken by jagged stone forests, herds of six-legged grazers moving like tides, and predators that learned quickly which prey fought back. Humans weren't native here. We were contractors, hunters, and problem solvers hired by alien settlements that couldn't handle their own monsters. I was one of those hunters. My name didn't matter much to the locals. To them I was just the human. Guard. Armed with weapons that sounded like thunder and blades that never dulled. They believed humans were born strong, forged by violent worlds and endless wars. They weren't entirely wrong. As I adjusted my rifle and prepared to move on, the kneeling alien lifted her head and looked directly at me. Her eyes were large and amber, set in a narrow face framed by pale blue skin. She was small, even for her species, the Tracesauri, known across nearby systems as farmers and laborers. Not warriors. Not survivors. She crawled forward, pressing her forehead into the dust in front of my boots. "Please," she said in broken trade common, her voice trembling. "Human hunter. Please do not walk away." I sighed quietly. This was how trouble started. "What do you want?" "Yes." She swallowed, then said words I would never forget. "Please," she whispered, "give me a strong child." Among the Tracesauri, strength was everything, and they had very little of it. Their tribe lived near the southern stone forests, in mud-brick dwellings reinforced with bone and woven fiber. For generations, they had survived by appeasing predators, paying tribute to stronger clans, and praying that the seasons were kind. But Karuan 7 had grown harsher. The great razor beasts were migrating closer each year, and the Tracesauri numbers were shrinking. Disease, hunger, predation. Worst of all, their children were weak. I learned all this later, sitting by their communal fire while elders watched me with wary fascination. But in that first moment, all I knew was that an alien woman was begging me for something that crossed every cultural boundary I knew. "I can't do that," I said flatly. "You don't understand what you're asking." She lifted her head, tears streaking through the dust on her face. "I do," she said. "We have watched you humans. Your children grow tall. Yes. They survive wounds that would kill us. Your blood is strong. Our elders say, if even one child is born with human strength, the tribe may endure." I looked around. The sun was nearly gone. Shadows stretched long across the plains, and distant howls echoed from the stone forests. This wasn't a con. This was desperation. Still I shook my head. "I'm a hunter, not a savior. And not that." Her shoulders sagged, but she didn't move away. Instead, she said quietly, "Then teach us." That made me pause. "Teach you what?" "How to survive," she said. "If you will not give me a child, give us your way of strength." I stayed the night. That alone was enough to shock the tribe. Humans rarely stayed. We completed contracts, collected bounties, and left. Attachment was dangerous. But something about the way they looked at me, not with entitlement but with fragile hope, kept me there. Over the following days, I learned the truth. The Tracesauri had tried everything. They had adapted their crops, changed migration routes, even offered themselves as tribute to nearby warlike species. Nothing worked. They were being erased slowly, quietly, and no one in the galaxy cared. Except apparently one human hunter passing through. Began with basics. Shelter reinforcement. Fire placement to deter predators. Traps. Not the ceremonial nonsense they used, but efficient, brutal human traps. I taught them how to hunt in coordinated groups instead of scattering, how to identify signs of disease early, how to fight not to win but to survive. They learned fast. Too fast. Within weeks, predator attacks dropped. Their food stores grew. Children who had never held weapons learned to throw, strike, and retreat in disciplined patterns. The elders watched in awe as their tribe changed before their eyes. But still it wasn't enough. One night as we sat near the fire, the same alien woman, her name was Sally, spoke again. "You have made us stronger," she said. "But when you leave, we will fade again." I stared into the flames. She wasn't wrong. Humans were adaptable because we passed knowledge and genetics through generations shaped by hardship. The Traceari were changing, but slowly. "You want a shortcut," I said. She nodded. "One child," she said softly. "Raised among us. Taught by you. A bridge between worlds." The elders didn't speak, but their silence was consent. I didn't answer that night. What changed everything wasn't her plea. It was the attack. 3 nights later, the razor beasts came in force, drawn by the scent of growing food stores and warm bodies. Massive creatures of muscle and bone-plated hide, moving faster than anything that big had a right to move. The Traceari fought, and for the first time in their history, they didn't break. They used the traps, the formations, the retreat and counter tactics I had drilled into them. I fought alongside them, rifle barking, blade flashing, but I wasn't alone anymore. Sally stood her ground, spear shaking but steady, driving it into a beast's eye as it lunged. Children dragged the wounded to safety instead of freezing in fear. When it was over, the plains were silent, littered with fallen predators and something else. Confidence. The tribe had bled, but it still stood. As dawn broke, Sally approached me again. She was injured, a deep gash along her side, but she stood tall. "You see," she said, "we can learn. We can change. But with you, we become more." I looked at the survivors. At the children watching me with awe, not as a god, but as proof that strength could be learned. That's when I understood. They didn't need a child. They needed a promise. It stayed. Not forever, but long enough. Months passed. I trained new leaders. Helped them establish trade with neighboring settlements on their terms. I modified human gear to suit Traceari physiology. I taught them how humans planned, not for tomorrow but for decades ahead. Sally became one of their strongest voices. Not because of physical strength, but because she understood something crucial. Survival wasn't about power alone. It was about refusing to accept extinction as inevitable. When it was time for me to leave, the tribe gathered at the edge of the plains. Sally stepped forward, holding a small bundle of woven cloth. Inside was a child. Not mine, but healthy, strong, bright. "Our children are changing," she said. "Not because of your blood, but because of your way." She bowed deeply. "You gave us something greater than what I asked for." I felt something tighten in my chest. "What will you tell them about me?" Yes. She smiled, a real smile this time. "We will tell them," she said, "that a human hunter taught us how to endure." As I walked away, the suns rose over Karuan 7, casting long shadows across a tribe that would no longer disappear quietly. Humanity didn't save them by giving them a child. We saved them by showing them that strength is not inherited alone. It is chosen. And sometimes all it takes to change a people's fate is one human who refuses to walk away.